I went to the danger zone, and it looked a lot like this. I'd have even buzzed the tower if there was a tower in this game to buzz. What's a guy have to do a flyby around here to impress an admiral's daughter when there's no tower to even fly by? Oh well, this is Air Raiders for the Atari 2600, and we've certainly seen this style of game before. One of the most popular of which is Top Gun on the NES. Now, Air Raiders came out several years beforehand, and as bad as this game looks, it's actually not that bad. It's kind of fun and addictive once you start getting into it. Let's get to some of the basics here. It's a flying game, and you're flying in a airplane. I don't think it specifies what kind of airplane. Although you're flying against jets, it seems like you're flying a World War I biplane. A Newport 17, Sopwith Camel, something like that, because all you have is a machine gun. You can't let loose a bunch of sidewinders and blow these planes to bits. The enemy planes all fly in formations of 3, and when you start blowing them away, they just kind of continue flying in the same formation. They do spread apart a little bit occasionally. Pulling back on the joystick makes you fly upwards. Pushing forward makes you go down, so they did get that correct with the flight controls. The gameplay itself isn't terribly bad, and you fly like you might expect. If you played Top Gun or any of those kind of games, it's really more or less the same. If you look at the bottom of the screen, there's a big black bar with a red center. The red center is the Flak Zone. That's where the enemy, the nondescript enemy, is shelling you from the ground. So if you're flying in the red, you're going to get hit, but you don't explode if you get hit. You just get knocked down a bit of altitude. Now you have to be careful, because if you're chasing an enemy formation of planes and you get too close to the ground and you get hit by flak, you will crash and die. So there's some challenge in the game. Your mission is to score as many hits as possible. They start you off with a certain amount of ammunition. You obviously want to line up your shots and bring down those enemy bastards who invaded your homeland. Whatever homeland that might be. Maybe it's the same fictional world that they've set River Raid in. Atariania. I don't know what they call this world. The Chronicles of Atariania. Actually, that's not a half bad idea. And what you just saw there was me refueling and rearming my plane. Now I'm back to get some bad guys. But as I was saying, it's virtually impossible to get shot down in this game unless you just simply get too close to the ground or get hit with flak numerous times in a row, and it will bring you all the way down. The biggest danger is concentrating too hard on one of the enemies. For instance, if you blow away 2 out of the 3 planes in the formation, and you're concentrating really hard on getting that last plane, and then you end up flying into the ground. That happened to me about 3 out of 4 times playing this game. So you have to keep a close eye on the altitude meter on the left. And by the way, 10 and 12 and 15, they don't represent 10, 12, or 15 feet. It's 10,000 feet. So you can go from 0 to 40,000 feet in about the same amount of time as the space shuttle. This is one hell of a biplane. Chuck Yeager himself would be mesmerized by whatever is powering your plane, yet all they could give it was a machine gun. When you run out of ammunition, it gives you 2 more chances to land and refuel. Oh, and you can run out of fuel, by the way. I forgot to mention that. There's a bar, the bar right above that black bar with the red. It's the blue bar that starts turning red. That's your fuel gauge. So you can run out of fuel and ammunition, and when that's about to happen, you fly down to 0 and just hang out there for 4 seconds according to the manual, and the runway appears magically below you. You land your plane. The magic people of Atariania refuel your plane and give you some ammunition, but you don't get the full amount of ammunition you just get a bit more. I'm not entirely sure how it calculates exactly how much more ammo it gives you, but this was my best game out of about 40, 50 games. And to be honest with you, it was actually kind of fun. Once you start getting into it, you really want to get the highest score that you can. You only have 2 chances to refuel and rearm, so a score of 60, I think according to the manual, that made me like an ace pilot or something. So we're like the Red Baron here, not Baron von Richthofen, but Baron von Game Room, hero of Atariania, whose mortal enemies you've just defeated, pilots from evil worlds like Clicovisia, Commodore Sixaphoria, Magnavoxium, and the most treacherous, vile, despicable, evil beings ever created, the members of Intellivision Game Players Union number 37. Not one of the most exciting cartridge designs for the Atari 2600 here with Air Raiders, and sadly the game has nothing to do with Air Raiders, the comic book from the late 1980s. However, in your mind, you can always play as one of the Air Raiders.